Let's get real for a second. Being disrespected by a woman you like, or even one you're in a relationship with, is something most men don't know how to handle. And here's the truth. How you react in those moments can make or break your entire dynamic with her. Some guys freeze, others try to explain themselves, and a few even grovel, thinking that will fix it. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. In fact, most of the time, it just teaches her that she can push boundaries without consequences. Disrespect isn't always blatant. It can be subtle, like her dismissing your opinion in front of others, ignoring your time, or speaking to you in a way that makes you feel small. And yes, sometimes it's obvious, and you just feel shocked, angry, or frustrated. Whatever the form, disrespect is a signal. It's a moment that tests your confidence, your boundaries, and your ability to command respect. Here's the thing that most men don't get. Respect isn't earned just by being nice or doing what she wants. It's earned by showing that you value yourself, that you have limits, and that you won't tolerate being treated as less than you are. Women notice this, whether they say it out loud or not. And the way you respond, calmly, confidently, and with clarity, can either increase your value in her eyes or destroy it completely. This video is going to show you exactly what to do when a woman disrespects you. I'm going to break down the mindset you need, the actions that work, and the things that almost always backfire. No fluff, no games, just real insight from a woman's perspective so you understand what's really going through her head and how to make sure you stay in control of the situation. Welcome to the channel. If you're tired of feeling frustrated or powerless when a woman crosses a line, you're in the right place. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to respond in a way that earns respect, and even changes the way she sees you entirely. 1. Stop begging for respect. Own it. Let's start with the first, most important truth. Respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you command by how you carry yourself. So many men make the mistake of thinking that if they're nice enough, patient enough, or if they apologize just right, a woman will automatically treat them with respect. That's not how it works. Respect comes from your actions, your mindset, and the standards you set. And if you're giving it away or begging for it, she won't value it. Think about this. You're out with a woman, and she rolls her eyes at something you say. A lot of guys will try to explain themselves, laugh it off, or even get defensive. The problem with that reaction is it communicates insecurity. She sees you bending over backward to fix the moment for her comfort instead of standing your ground. Owning your respect starts with understanding your value. This isn't about arrogance or trying to impress her. It's about knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you will and will not tolerate. If she crosses a line, you don't need to yell, argue, or prove yourself. You simply react in a way that reinforces that your time, your dignity, and your boundaries matter. That might mean taking a step back, pausing the conversation, or calmly pointing out that her words or actions weren't acceptable. And when you do that consistently, you teach her that she can disrespect you without consequences. And that's the exact opposite of what you want. The key is doing it without anger, because respect comes from control, not emotion. Here's where most men get it wrong. They think respecting a woman means putting her above themselves or letting her disrespect slide to keep the peace. That's a trap. True respect goes both ways. If you allow yourself to be disrespected, you're signaling that your value is negotiable. And that's exactly what women notice, sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously. When you start owning your respect, you'll notice a shift. Women may initially push back because they're testing boundaries. They want to see if you'll stand firm. That's normal. But once they recognize that you won't tolerate being treated poorly, something changes. Your presence, your energy, and the way you carry yourself suddenly communicate strength. And that's magnetic. It's no longer about pleasing her or avoiding conflict. It's about being a man who demands basic respect naturally, and in doing so, you create an entirely different dynamic. 2. The power of silence, when she crosses the line. Silence is one of the most underrated tools you have when a woman disrespects you. Most men feel the need to respond immediately. They talk, argue, explain themselves, or try to defend their position. But here's the truth. Reacting too quickly usually makes the situation worse. Silence, on the other hand, communicates more than words ever could. When you stay quiet in the face of disrespect, you're doing something powerful. You're showing that you're in control of your emotions. You're signaling that her words or actions won't dictate how you feel or how you respond. This doesn't mean you're ignoring her completely. It means you're choosing when and how to respond in a way that maintains your dignity. Women notice this, and it instantly changes the dynamic. Think about it this way. When a woman makes a snide comment or dismisses your opinion, most guys immediately jump in to explain, apologize, or try to fix the moment. That response says, "I need your approval, and I'm worried about what you think of me." Silence says something completely different. It says, "I recognize what just happened, and I'm not letting it shake me." That's magnetic. It's strong. It's confident. Silence also creates tension in the right way. When you don't react immediately, it makes her pause and reflect on her behavior. She might even realize she overstepped, especially if she's used to guys reacting weakly or getting defensive. You don't have to call her out every time. Sometimes your calm, quiet presence is enough to make her reassess what just happened. Now, using silence effectively isn't about being passive-aggressive or giving the cold shoulder indefinitely. It's about choosing the right moment to respond, on your terms. If you do need to address the behavior, you do it calmly and clearly after you've collected yourself. But in the heat of the moment, letting your words go unsaid and maintaining your composure is far more powerful than snapping back emotionally. The men who struggle most with disrespect are the ones who talk too much, try to rationalize every action, or show that their feelings are easily manipulated. Using silence flips the script. It gives you the upper hand, reinforces your boundaries, and shows that your self-worth isn't negotiable. Over time, this makes women respect you more, not because you're intimidating, but because you're unshakable. Silence is a skill. It's simple, but it requires practice. Every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, you're training yourself to command respect without saying a single word. And in situations where women test boundaries, that skill will set you apart from the majority of men who let themselves be pushed around. 3. Call out disrespect without losing cool. Knowing how to call out disrespect without losing your cool is one of the most important skills a man can have. Too many guys either explode in anger, which makes them seem reactive and insecure, or they let it slide, which signals weakness. Neither approach works. The goal is to address the behavior calmly, clearly, and confidently so that you maintain control of the situation and your dignity. The first thing to understand is that calling out disrespect isn't about attacking her or proving her wrong. It's about making her aware that her behavior crossed a line and that you won't accept it. Your tone, your body language, and your words all play a role. If you speak too softly or apologize while pointing out the issue, it undermines your message. Speak with calm authority, firm, but not aggressive. Confidence is key. It's also crucial to be specific about the behavior. Instead of saying something vague like, "You're being rude," you might say, "I don't appreciate it when my opinion is dismissed like that." Specificity removes ambiguity and shows that you're not just overreacting emotionally, you're setting a clear standard for how you expect to be treated. Women respond differently when a man is precise about boundaries compared to when he's vague or emotional. Another critical point is timing. Don't call out disrespect in the middle of a heated argument or when either of you is emotionally charged. Take a moment to breathe, collect yourself, and then address it. This approach communicates that you're not impulsive or reactive. You're thoughtful, grounded, and self-aware, all traits that women respect. Equally important is not over-explaining or justifying your feelings. Some men feel the need to defend themselves or explain why the behavior bothered them. That's a trap. Once you start justifying, it shifts the dynamic back in her favor and dilutes your authority. Simply state the boundary, calmly, and stick to it. No long explanations, no emotional pleading. Finally, understand that calling out disrespect is a signal of self-respect. It shows that you value yourself and your time. Women notice this, even if they don't say it outright. They may test you again, but if you remain consistent and composed, you establish a standard that becomes part of your dynamic. Repeatedly allowing disrespect without addressing it teaches her that boundaries are optional. Consistently addressing it communicates that they're non-negotiable. The men who succeed with women in the long run aren't the ones who avoid conflict or try to be liked at all costs. They're the ones who stay calm, address disrespect with authority, and never compromise their self-worth. Mastering this skill isn't about being confrontational. It's about being confident, grounded, and clear. And when you do it right, it doesn't just command respect. It changes the way she sees and values you completely. 4. Set boundaries. She can't ignore. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do when a woman disrespects you. Yet most men either avoid it completely or set weak boundaries that she can easily ignore. A boundary isn't just a rule, it's a statement of your self-worth. It shows that you know what's acceptable and what isn't, and that you won't tolerate behavior that undermines you. The first step in setting boundaries is clarity. You need to know exactly what you will and won't accept. This isn't complicated. Think about your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. If she interrupts you constantly, dismisses your opinions, or crosses other lines, that's where your boundaries come in. You don't have to justify them, you just enforce them consistently. Consistency is key. A boundary only works if it's enforced every time it's crossed. If one day you let something slide and the next day you confront it, it creates confusion. Women quickly pick up on inconsistency, and it signals that your standards are negotiable. Once you're consistent, your boundaries become part of the dynamic. She knows exactly what to expect and how far she can push. Another important element is non-negotiability. When you communicate a boundary, it should feel firm but calm. Avoid over-explaining or over-apologizing. It weakens the message. For example, if she constantly texts you at all hours and you want to protect your time, you can say something like, "I don't respond to messages late at night. I'll reply when it's convenient for me." Simple, clear, and final. There's no need to justify it, argue, or grovel. Body language and energy also reinforce boundaries. If you're firm in your tone and confident in your posture, your words carry more weight. When you waver, even slightly, she will sense it. Women are very intuitive about energy. They feel if a man is uncertain or insecure. Confidence isn't about dominance. It's about standing firm in who you are and what you value. Finally, understand the bigger picture. Boundaries protect your self-respect and elevate your value. A man who allows disrespect without limits slowly loses authority in the relationship or interaction. On the other hand, a man who sets clear, enforceable boundaries commands respect naturally. It's not about controlling her. It's about controlling yourself and making sure you are treated the way you deserve. Setting boundaries isn't easy at first, especially if you're used to accommodating others or avoiding conflict. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And once a woman sees that you have clear limits, she will either adjust to meet them or you'll quickly see that the connection isn't worth your time. Either outcome benefits you. 5. Why most men react wrong and lose value. Most men don't realize that the way they react to disrespect is often the reason they lose value in a woman's eyes. It's not always about what she says or does. It's about how you respond. The moment you act weak, defensive, or overly emotional, you signal that your worth is negotiable, and that kills attraction faster than almost anything else. One of the biggest mistakes is overreacting. When a woman disrespects you, some men immediately lash out or argue, thinking that showing anger will make her respect them. The problem is that uncontrolled anger comes across as insecurity. She sees that you're easily triggered and can't handle tension calmly. Respect, attraction, and confidence are all eroded when you react impulsively. Another common error is people-pleasing. Many men try to fix the situation by apologizing, explaining themselves, or bending over backward to regain her approval. It's understandable. You don't want conflict. But what you're actually doing is teaching her that she can push boundaries without consequence. Nice guys often lose value because they fail to enforce their own standards. Being agreeable at the expense of your self-respect is never attractive. A third mistake is ignoring the issue completely. Some men avoid confrontation because they fear losing her or think it will create tension. Silence can be powerful, yes, but ignoring blatant disrespect sends the wrong message. It communicates that you don't care about how you're treated, and over time, that destroys your authority and presence. Boundaries exist to protect your value, and failing to enforce them makes you appear passive. Many men also overthink the situation. They replay conversations in their head, wonder if they should have said something differently, or second-guess their reactions. This mental loop leads to hesitation and lack of confidence in the moment. Women sense uncertainty instinctively, and it undermines any respect they might have had for you. Acting with clarity and decisiveness, rather than anxiety, is always better. Finally, some men react with passive aggression. They sulk, give the silent treatment for days, or try to manipulate her emotions to teach her a lesson. These tactics almost never work. They create frustration, confusion, and resentment instead of respect. True power comes from direct, confident, and controlled responses, not emotional games. The key takeaway here is simple. How you respond determines how she sees you. Reacting wrongly makes you less attractive, less respected, and more likely to be treated poorly in the future. Reacting correctly, calmly, confidently, and consistently raises your value, reinforces your boundaries, and sets the tone for every interaction. 6. Use confidence to flip the dynamic. Confidence is more than just looking good or having a bold attitude. It's a tool that can completely flip the dynamic when a woman disrespects you. Most men underestimate how much their energy, presence, and mindset influence how a woman treats them. Confidence isn't about being loud or dominant. It's about being unshakable and clear about your value. The first thing to understand is that confidence communicates boundaries without saying a word. When you hold yourself with calm certainty, she notices. You don't have to raise your voice, argue, or explain why something bothered you. Your demeanor alone tells her that you won't tolerate disrespect, and that makes you instantly more attractive. Women respond to energy far more than words, so how you carry yourself matters. Confidence also gives you the ability to control the pace of the interaction. Instead of reacting impulsively, confident men pause, assess, and choose the right moment to respond. This control creates tension in a good way. It makes her aware that you're not easily swayed and that she can't push you around. That tension often leads to more respect, curiosity, and even attraction because it positions you as someone who is steady, self-assured, and unflappable. Another critical aspect is speaking with authority. When you call out disrespect or set boundaries, Do it with clarity and calmness. Avoid over-explaining or apologizing unnecessarily. A confident man states what's acceptable and what isn't and doesn't waver. This approach signals that you respect yourself and your time, which in turn makes her respect you. Confidence also allows you to walk away if necessary. Many men fear losing a woman or worry about her reaction, so they stay even when they're being disrespected. Confidence gives you the ability to leave the situation without hesitation. Walking away calmly isn't about punishment. It's about reinforcing that your self-worth isn't negotiable. Ironically, this often makes her realize your value more than any argument ever could. Finally, confidence isn't something you fake. It's built through practice. Every time you respond calmly, enforce a boundary, or refuse to be shaken by disrespect, you strengthen it. Over time, it becomes natural, and the way women treat you changes as a result. They notice a man who knows his value, controls his energy, and handles conflict without panic or drama. That's the kind of presence that commands respect consistently. Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being firm in who you are and how you expect to be treated. The moment you fully embrace this mindset, you stop reacting out of fear, and you start responding in ways that naturally elevate your value. That's how you flip the dynamic entirely, turning moments of disrespect into opportunities to strengthen your presence, authority, and influence. 7. Take responsibility for your role. Wake up. Here's a hard truth most men don't want to hear. You always play a role in how a woman treats you. That's not about blaming yourself for her behavior. It's about recognizing that your actions, energy, and boundaries either invite respect or signal weakness. If you've been disrespected repeatedly, it's time to take a hard look in the mirror and ask, what am I doing that allows this to happen? One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking respect is automatic. You show up, you're nice, and you expect her to treat you well just because you're a decent guy. That's not reality. Respect is earned every day, not assumed. If you've been passive, apologetic too often, or inconsistent with boundaries, you've unintentionally trained her to push limits. The first step toward changing the dynamic is owning your role in it. Another factor is energy management. Women are highly attuned to a man's energy. They notice if you're reactive, anxious, or unsure. When you respond emotionally to minor slights, overreact to small disrespect, or allow frustration to take over, you communicate instability. This isn't just about attracting women. It's about commanding respect in any interaction. You must take responsibility for controlling your energy so that your reactions match the standard you want to set. Reflection is also crucial. Ask yourself, are you consistent in your boundaries, or do you bend them when it's convenient? Do you react impulsively, or do you pause and respond deliberately? Are you calm under pressure, or do small slights derail your confidence? Being honest with yourself is uncomfortable, but it's necessary if you want to shift how women treat you. Here's where constructive criticism comes in. Most men wait until a woman crosses a major line to act, rather than reinforcing boundaries proactively. That's backward. You don't wait for disrespect to escalate. You anticipate it by knowing your standards and living by them consistently. Wake up to the fact that your presence, demeanor, and reactions are constantly teaching her how to treat you. If you want respect, it starts with you. Finally, taking responsibility also means acting with integrity and consistency. Don't blame her, don't overreact, and don't assume she owes you anything. Instead, focus on what you can control: your mindset, your boundaries, and your confidence. When you own your role in the dynamic, you stop being a passive participant and start being a man who naturally commands respect. That awareness alone changes everything: her behavior, your interactions, and how you feel about yourself. Wake up and take charge. Respect isn't given. It's earned, defended, and reinforced. The moment you take full responsibility for your actions and your presence, you stop reacting to disrespect and start shaping the dynamics in your favor. This is where transformation begins. Here's the truth that most men refuse to face. If you allow disrespect to slide, you're teaching women exactly how to treat you. It's uncomfortable, it's harsh, and it's eye-opening, but it's also liberating. Because once you understand that your reactions, your boundaries, and your confidence shape the dynamic, you gain control. You stop being a passive participant in your interactions and start commanding the respect you deserve. Remember, handling disrespect isn't about arguing, proving yourself, or playing games. It's about staying calm, enforcing boundaries, and owning your value. Silence can be more powerful than words. Confidence speaks louder than anger, and reflection on your own role ensures that you're not unintentionally inviting bad behavior. When you combine these elements, you shift the energy completely, and women respond, sometimes immediately, sometimes gradually, but always with more respect for the man who refuses to compromise his dignity. Here's something to think about. Most men react weakly because they've never truly considered how much their own behavior shapes a woman's actions. That's the controversial part. It's not always about her. It's about you stepping up and taking full responsibility for how you allow yourself to be treated. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been disrespected and handled it the wrong way? Or maybe the right way? Drop your experiences in the comments. I read everyone, and I'll engage with you, because these are real situations that deserve real discussion. By sharing, we all learn how to command respect better and create stronger, healthier dynamics in our relationships. Take control of your value, set your boundaries, and never let disrespect slide again. You owe it to yourself.